Hello and welcome to Relatable Code. In this video, we're going to talk about work managers in Android. So let's get started. In this video, we're going to build this application. This application will have three different work managers. A work manager to simulate uploading an image to the server. After clicking on that button, a delay happens for 5 seconds, and after that delay, as you can see, we will see a log inside our logcat. Okay, and we have a work manager to simulate syncing the user's data with the server. As you can see, that data begins to get synced here, and it will get repeated every 15 minutes. Okay, so that's a periodic work manager. And we have this button, which will simulate chaining operations between two work managers. Okay, so if we click on this button, it will simulate retrieving data, which is passing data between those two work managers to concatenate this string and return it to the UI as well. Okay, whether you're building a social media app, a photo editor, or a productivity tool, chances are you'll need to perform some tasks in the background. Maybe you need to upload some photos, sync data, or process files. Tasks that your users expect to happen smoothly and reliably, even if they switch to another application or if their device restarts for some reason. And this is where the Work Manager comes into play. It's part of the Android Jetpack suite of libraries, and it is designed to make your life easier. It handles background tasks in the most efficient way possible. Imagine you've just taken a photo and you're uploading it to your favorite social media platform. You hit on upload and you switch to another application, maybe to reply to a message. You expect that photo to be uploaded without needing to keep the application open. And that's the kind of task that the work manager excels at handling. It schedules the tasks like that, which are called deferrable and asynchronous tasks, because they can be performed at a later time and they are not meant to block your user's UI. Okay? And it ensures that these tasks are executed. It takes into account the device constraints like network availability and battery levels as well. Not only does the Work Manager support one-off tasks, like our photo upload example, but it also manages periodic tasks. One-off tasks are tasks that are only performed once. Meanwhile, periodic tasks are those which are scheduled periodically. Okay? Maybe you need to sync your data with a server every few hours. Work Manager can help you with that, and it ensures that your application's data is always fresh and up to date without draining your user's battery. The Work Manager is designed to be backward compatible all the way down to Android 4.0, which makes your app reliable on a wide range of devices. I have given you the initial setup of this project and the final setup as well in the video's description. Okay, in the initial setup, we have our activity main XML file. Like that, we have 3 buttons and a text view. Okay, a button to simulate uploading our image, a button to sync user data, and a button to perform the chain request. Okay, as well as a text view to display the result of this chain request. And inside our main activity, we have view binding setup, and that's pretty much it. We are going to begin with our ImageUploadWorker. Okay, so go into this package and create a new Kotlin class or file and name that ImageUploadWorker. Okay, and for the initial setup, you also have this dependency. Okay, you need that dependency to be able to work with the Work Manager. So let's do that right here. Our class will have to extend worker, just like that. Okay, and to extend worker, you need 2 parameters. You need a context and work params. So let's provide them here. Context, extending context, and worker parameters, extending worker parameters. That's it. We can pass context and we can pass worker parameters, just like that. And to be able to successfully extend that worker, we have to implement a method, and that method is doWork. Okay. In this method, this is where your logic will happen. The logic of the task performed by this worker. So here, you're going to have to return something called result at the end, which can happen with result dot success. Okay. And before result.success, we want to simulate uploading an image to the server, which we can do with thread.sleep for 5000 milliseconds. And after that, we can just have a simple print line statement saying image uploaded. You can use a print line statement and you can use a normal log. Okay. And that's pretty much it. That's how you work with the doWork. What matters is that you return a result in the end. Okay, this can be a result.success, it can be a result.failure, and it can be a result.retry. Okay, you might use result.retry in this case. Let's try to wrap this inside a try-catch statement like that. Let's say our thread was interrupted for any reason. In that case, it will throw a interrupted exception, which you can extend here. Okay, you can have extend interrupted exception, and in this case, you can return result dot retry. Okay, which will attempt to retry this block of code and avoid getting interrupted. Okay, that's something very useful with the work manager, and it's very easy to do. Okay, that's how you do the doWork function. And now let's create a request inside our main activity and perform that task. So we'll need to add an on-click listener for our btn upload image, which we can do right here inside the onCreate function. And inside this onClick listener, we're going to want to create a request and initiate that request. Okay, so let's do that with image upload request equals to one time work request builder. That's the one that we need. And between these tags, you need to pass the worker itself. Okay, let's do that with image upload worker. Okay, if you hover over this image upload request, you will see that it's now a one-time work request dot builder. And as with all of the dot builder functions, in the end, you will need to call dot build. Okay, if you hover over it right now, it will be a one-time work request. And we can initiate this request with one line of code. Okay, you can write WorkManager dot get instance like that. You can pass this for the context, and in the end, to have this request initiate, you can use .enqueue. Okay, .enqueue will expect a work request, which is our image upload request. Okay, that's all there is to it. That's how you create a work manager, and that's how you create a request and initiate it. Okay, so let's go ahead and run our application. So that's our app. It's currently running inside our emulator. And I have my logcat opened and filtering for this tag, system.out. Okay, because we're using a print line statement here. If you're using a custom log, make sure to filter for that log inside the logcat. And after that, we're going to click on our upload image inside our emulator, which will have us wait for 5 seconds before writing this log into our logcat. Okay, so we have image uploaded, which happened 5 seconds after we initiated that request. Okay, and we're creating that request inside our on-click listener, which will enable us to issue it more than once. Okay, if you create a request outside the scope of this on-click listener and you enqueue it, you can only enqueue it once. Okay, every time you want to have that task executed, you need to create a new task, a new request like that. Okay, so let's try to initiate this request and minimize our application. Let's check out our logs. And as you can see, it still works. Okay, because the work manager is designed to work when the application is in the background state. Okay, it's going to execute a background task which doesn't require the user to be actively running the application. Okay, let's move on to the next worker, which is our sync user data worker. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new Kotlin class or file right there. New Kotlin class or file. And let's name it user data sync worker. It will also extend worker like we did previously. Let's copy that code right there. We copied system.out. How is that even possible? Oh dear God. Okay. Sad face. This will have us pass our context and our what else does it need? It needs a worker params. Let's pass our worker params as well with worker parameters, just like that. We're also going to override our do work, and in this case, we just want to have a simple print line statement. For example, user data synced, and after that, just return a result.success. Okay. Control Alt L to format that. I think that looks good for now. And that's all we need for our data sync worker. Okay, we're going to schedule it to run once every 15 minutes inside our main activity. So let's create an on-click listener for our other button. We can do that right here with binding.btn sync userdata.set on-click listener. Let's name this sync user data request, and it will be equal to periodic work request builder. Okay, and this will be our user data sync worker, and it will expect two parameters. It will expect the duration, and it will expect a time unit, which will be time unit dot minutes. Okay, and in the end, we will also write dot build. And with work managers, if you want to schedule a periodic task, it needs to be scheduled at least 15 minutes. Okay, so you need to have 15 minutes between one task or another, and that's the rule when using Work Manager, because it's designed to be battery efficient. Okay, so you can't schedule jobs that are more frequent than once every 15 minutes, just to have your user's battery health remain intact. Okay, and it's very good practice, honestly. So what's left here is to write work manager dot get instance. We will pass this, and we will also write dot enqueue and pass our sync user data request. Okay, open your logs again and run your application. So that's our emulator. Let's open the logs again and click on sync user data. As you can see, this is our log user data synced, which happened because this was directly triggered. And beneath it, fortunately, you're seeing the log because 15 minutes have passed since I last tried to test this user data sync worker, and I think I was looking for a different log. So let's copy that and paste it here so that we can have it remain consistent. Okay, you can leave the previous string, you can use the new string, it's completely up to you. But this proves to you that it indeed schedules this task once every 15 minutes. Okay, so this will get executed frequently, and that's how you set up a periodic work request. And now we're going to create the work managers which are responsible for our chain requests. Okay, so we're going to need two work managers. One work manager will get some data and pass it to the second work manager, which will receive this data and then concatenate it before returning it to our text view. Okay, so if you click on chain requests, this is what we're going to do. After 3 seconds, this doesn't have an on-click listener yet. I thought it was still the previous app running, which is not an issue. We're going to do that right now. So let's create a new Kotlin class or file, and let's call it FetchHelloWorker. Will our copy paste work now? Let's try it out. Jesus Christ. Copy, paste. There you go. And here we can override. No, we don't want to make it abstract. We want to implement the members, which are do work. Okay. And here inside do work, what we're going to do is we're going to build some data and we're going to pass it to the second worker. Okay. We can build that data here and we can call it output data, and we can have it equal to data. It has to be that data from AndroidX.work. After that, you're going to call dot builder, which will expect parentheses. And after that, you can basically put anything you want inside that builder. Okay, you can put in a string, a boolean, a byte, a double. You can pass many different types of data from one worker to another. Okay, let's just pass a string for this case. It will have a key. Let's just pass a string in this case. It will have a key which is result, and it will have a value which is hello. Okay, after that you're going to have to call .build because this is a builder. And after .build, you can just write result.success, and inside result.success you can pass data. Okay, so we're going to pass our output data just like that. And that's how we need a return statement right there. And that's how you can configure some data inside a worker and pass it into the result. Okay, so now we're going to create the other worker. In our case, it will be FetchWorldWorker because we're trying to return hello world to our user. And let's copy paste these again. I think I learned my lesson with copy and paste. Just like that. Let's override do work. And inside do work, we're going to have to do two things. Okay, we're going to receive the string which is sent from here, and we're going to concatenate it before exposing it to our UI. Okay, and let's do that with val input string equals to input data, which you have access to because you're inside a worker, and you're going to use getString for the same key that you used here, which is result, and that's how you get a string from the previous worker. Okay, and here we're going to expose also some output data to the UI, and we can do that with data.builder dot put string. It will also be result, and it will be input string space world. Okay, so that we can receive hello from here, and we can append world to it. After that, we can call dot build, and last but not least, we can return result dot success with our output data. Okay, that's how you receive data inside a work manager and append data to it as well. And now inside our main activity, we can work with that. So we're going to add a new on-click listener for our button, which is btn chain request dot set on-click listener. First, we're going to create our FetchHelloWorker request, and then our FetchWorldWorker request. So let's do that with FetchHelloWorker request equals to one-time request builder for our FetchHelloWorker. We're going to do the same for our FetchWorldWorker for FetchWorldWorker. And we're not going to call enqueue directly here because we want to chain both of them. So we can do that with WorkManager.getInstance this dot begin with fetch hello worker request dot we don't have suggestions because yes, we didn't call dot build in the end. Dot build like that, and after dot begin with, we're going to write dot then for our fetch world worker request, and after that we're going to call dot enqueue. Okay, so what this does is it gets our work manager. It begins with this request, and when it's done, it moves on to this request so that it can enqueue them both. So let's continue by intercepting the result, which is returned inside our FetchWorldWorker, and try to display it inside our UI with a text view. So let's go inside our on-click listener. We can actually move this outside of our on-click listener like that, so that we can have the following code outside of that listener. Okay, you can have all of them inside that on-click listener, but I want to separate them for now. So let's write WorkManager.getInstance this.getWorkInfo by ID live data. Okay, that's what you're going to need to be able to observe that data which is returned from your second worker. Okay, because it has some sort of real-time update, it is considered live data in this case. Okay, so let's pass our fetch world worker request because it is our last request in this case. Okay, it gets executed after fetch hello worker request, and after that you're going to call dot observe with this, which will return some work info. Okay, you're going to check inside this work info if it is different than null, and it has a state which is equal to workinfo.state.succeeded. In this case, you have workinfo which is valid, it's not null, and the work info.state is succeeded. Okay, and I really hate to write something like that. Even for a simple tutorial, you can use this. Okay, copy and paste that inside an if else statement. We don't really need to check if this is different from null because this is not Java. Okay, and inside this block of code, we are certain that our request succeeded, so we can now get the result from that request. Let's do that with result equals to work info dot get output data, like that, dot get string. Okay, our string will be result, which is what we used right here. And we're going to use that result inside our text view. Okay, let's do that with pv chain requests.text equals to result. Okay, after you do that, go ahead and run your application. And there we have our application. We have this chain request button. After we click on that, we get hello world. Okay, hello from our first builder or worker, and world from our second worker. It's a very simple example, but you can pass any data that you want between these workers. Okay, and have them work on the data coming from the previous worker to achieve a certain result, like we did right here. Okay, we intercepted that result inside our main activity. We were able to create two requests for our workers, and we found a way to enqueue both of them in sequence. Okay, we started with the hello worker and then the world worker. And here inside this block of code, we got the instance of our work manager, and we used this method. Okay, we needed to get the result as something called live data. Okay, this live data will be something that you can observe, and this will only get triggered if this live data changes in value. Okay, which happened with our second worker request when it emitted a result, which is why we used its ID right there, and we call .observe. Okay, observe will take an owner. We're going to pass activity as the observer in this case because it will be the component which is going to observe this live data. And inside this live data, we're going to get access to something called a work info. This work info has to be different from null, and it needs to have a state equals to state succeeded, so that we can know that our result was successful. Okay, because the .observe will get invoked whether it was successful or failure. Okay, but here inside this block of code, you're making sure that you have a successful result. You're getting that result with this work info.output data, which is coming from our worker. As you can see, it's a part of work info. And you're calling .getString. Okay, you're getting a string with this key, which you used inside this second worker, which will give you the hello world string. Okay, and we're using that string to append it to our text view right there. Okay, you can go further and maybe print the result if you want. You can do that right here with print line output data. You can also simulate a thread.sleep if you want. You can write thread.sleep 3000 for 3 seconds in this case, and you can run your application again. And now open your logcat, clear those logs, and click on chain requests. It will wait for 3 seconds, and after that this will change and this will get outputted into your window. Okay, and here we have data consisting of a key of result and a value of hello world. Okay, if you like my type of content and you find it to be relatable, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for future content, and I'll see you in the next video.